Good evening, or good day, or good morning, or good afternoon, or whatever it is that you're currently in the midst of. um, this is just kind of a different video for me. I have taught for the last 21 years, primarily English as a second language. Um, I have taught for different universities. I taught some classes for a college, for a university, etc., etc., etc. Um, I'm a non-traditional student. I didn't get my bachelor's degree till I was 32 years old, and I got my master's when I was 38. I'm 55 right now. The program that I was in was an adult education and literacy program here in Texas. And after 6 years, I was pretty much with the program since its inception, uh, which was in 2018. The program was destroyed, killed, massacred, whatever adjective or verb you want to use for that situation. um, all the funding was cut, and the college that I was at basically unemployed all of us teachers and the director and the other people that were left, which was not much by the time we closed. Part-time people had been pretty much cut out too. Um, so that was at the end of June 30th. So I have been unemployed for 5 months and 2 weeks. Now, I'm not the only one. I have a coworker who I have a master's. My coworker has two bachelor's degrees, has taught for 30 years or whatever, and her and I both have not been able to find work. I have even applied at places like Sam's Club, a local alcohol distributor. I've applied at, yeah, well, just name it, even a head shop, for God's sakes. And of course, the head shop went broke and disappeared right after I applied for them back in June. I have applied at every type of job you can imagine. Okay. I'm talking at least 80 applications out there. Out of those 80 applications in the last 5.5 months, I've had like 4 interviews, one from a university in the area and one from a college, two from a college in the area and one from a, what's it called? It would be a middle school. And I have not gotten a job. So it's like 25 weeks later, right? And I have not been able to find a job. So we've, and I've been discovering from other people that I know that are my age that for the people our age, it's very difficult to get a job. Nobody seems, I'm not going to make a blanket statement, but it seems that nobody wants to hire us. I got turned down for being a maintenance guy for the city, like cutting grass and blowing leaves and stuff. I got rejected from that. I got turned down from being a driver's assistant for a alcohol distribution center. I got turned down for being a financial aid representative, at a college. I got turned down for being a teacher of I think it was 8th grade English. I think it was. I can't remember now because I've had so many applications out there, and the few interviews I've had have not even been that noticeable per se. Out of that crowd, what, 4 interviews? One was a complete scam. One was with an insurance company here in Texas that doesn't pay you any salary, offers no benefits, wants you to pay for your own license to be a insurance agent, and yet offers no pay, no salary. It's commission, pure commission. Really? Okay. That was a waste of my time a few weeks ago. I've looked at part-time stuff on the internet. There's jobs like, for example, working with AI, where you can train AI, with your writing skills. And I've got writing skills. That's not an issue. But really, and then they want all this information that's all, I don't know. It didn't feel right, so I haven't done anything further with that. So we were discussing this, and so today I do have a job. I did get hired for something, but it's only due to nepotism. My stepson works at a hospital in the food department, or the food, provider, which is under a contract from that hospital, and then there's this company that handles that aspect of the business. So I was able to get a job finally, and my unemployment actually ends in January, which comes to a total of $2,010. Excuse me, $2,020 a month, which is over a $1,700 decrease from my salary at my last job. Okay. So I'm living on basically 2/3 of what I was living on before, and I have bills, and I have rent, and I have a personal loan that I took off to try to help me get rid of some credit card debt, and I have credit card debt, and I have lots of bills, internet, gas and water, electricity, garbage disposal, whatever. So I've been scraping by. And this has been going on for the last, like I said, since the end of June. June 30th was my last day of work, and my last paycheck from that job. We can't figure out what's going on, because this is not just something that's happening to me. Okay, so today I went and had a medical exam and was vaccinated for the flu and for, what do they call it? Tetanus, diphtheria, and whatever the hell it is, DTP or whatever. Whooping cough, I think. Anyways, I hadn't had those vaccines since like '87, and I've never had a flu shot until today. So after 37 years of no flu and no flu shot, I finally got a flu shot because it's required for this job, as well as a drug test. So my urine is no longer my own urine. It belongs now to whoever wants to hire me, and they can test my urine, because there's no privacy in this decimated and dissolving empire, this police state we live in. But we were trying to figure out what the problem is, and so I spoke with the nurse today. We were just talking, having conversation, because she gave me 2 vaccines. She drew blood from me. Excellent, beautiful nurse, wonderful nurse. She told me that her husband, who is 60 as opposed to my 55, has been out of work for 9 months, and he worked in the field of finance and was a program, like a program manager and project manager and blah blah blah, and years of experience, in this field, like 40 years of working in this crap. Guess what? He's been unemployed for 9 months without a single interview. My coworker, as I mentioned, this woman is brilliant. Speaks like 5 languages. Spanish, English, Italian, a bit of Chinese, Latin. I mean, damn, I speak Spanish, but big deal, right? But guess what? No job. She almost had a job at Sam's Club for a position, if I remember correctly, as the I think it was the rotisserie chicken person or the cashier. I can't remember which one she interviewed for, because again, we put in like. Her and I usually get together and put out applications like every week, because we have to. It's a requirement of the unemployment, right? So we have to do that, and I do that, of course, every week. And like last week, we applied for like 9 jobs or some shit, 8 jobs, with the ISD in this area, which I didn't want to work in public education because I really don't believe in it. I think it's a terrible system, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go into that. That's for another video or a book or whatever. Well, I finally did that, and I have not heard anything back from them yet either. But of course, it's the middle of December, and I told her as well, nobody's going to hire us. Anyways, I don't want to go off topic too much. The nurse told me, again, that story, that her husband, he's 60 years old, and he can't find a job with years and decades of experience in his field. So the only conclusion that I can come to at this point, after being rejected today to be a groundskeeper, basically, for a city, cutting grass and stuff, is that there's ageism involved. We are too educated, or we are too old. Even though, as far as I'm concerned, mentally, I'm at my peak. I mean, I am, like what I taught ESL, for example, I'm a master of that. I mean, I know how to teach. 21 years of teaching, and I absolutely loved doing it, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm an expert in what I do. But yet, And that experience, I mean, again, in my 20s, I worked every job from, working in a freaking porno theater to working in an auto parts warehouse and running it to roofing to market research. You name it. I worked at a plastic factory. I worked at a postal, sorting center. I worked at a bindery. I mean, I've done every type of job imaginable. Okay. Now, of course, the last 21 years have been, primarily spent in the field of education. I did work at a music store for a while. I worked as a dishwasher. I worked as a dishwasher for a while, in between gigs, so to speak. To fill in between teaching gigs. I've done everything. I've washed dishes. I washed dishes at freaking Shoney's. If you remember Shoney's, you're old. Okay. I worked the graveyard shift at Shoney's washing dishes. Okay. But yet, here we are, 25 weeks in, no jobs. I mean, I just got this job. And the only reason is because of nepotism. Because my son contacted his half brother and said, "Hey, can you help my dad find something? He's been looking for work for a long time and is getting no results." So, what is it in this country? This is a secret, I guess. Nobody talks about this. Is it ageism? Nobody wants to hire me because I'm too educated. Nobody wants to hire me because they think I'm going to retire in, 10, 12 years or whatever. Does nobody want to hire me because they're afraid they'll have to pay me too much? Are they afraid that they will lose their job to me because I'm smarter than they are? What's going on? And again, I'm using the example of the nurse's husband and my ex-coworker and myself. And I mean, I know it's not alone. There's a friend of mine in South Texas, same problem. Nobody will hire him. The man has, a bachelor's degree in English. He's got 20 years of experience, selling books or whatever the hell he was doing, working in a bookstore for a long time, 2 decades. And yet, none of us seem to be able to find work unless it's nepotism, or we're part of some cult. Like around my area, there's a university that's kind of a cult. And if you are a member of that cult, generally you'll have better luck getting work than if you're not a member of that cult. My son's going to go to that cult next fall. Right now he's at the college that I was laid off from. So I think, and I was looking at some statistics today, they're saying that the unemployment rate right now is as high as it was in September of 2008, which is not good because, of course, 2008 was that recession we had, where everything collapsed and shit. It was all made up crap anyway, blah, blah, blah. But we're kind of repeating that cycle right now. And no, it doesn't make any it doesn't make any difference if Trump got elected or who's the big, scapegoat or whatever, the big wig that we're supposed to throw rocks at when they screw up. It doesn't matter. We live in a society that is ruled by rich people, and the corporations and the companies and the businesses out there don't want to pay people what they're worth. Again, I might be in the middle of my life or whatever, the downward spiral of my life, 55 years old, but that doesn't mean that by any means I'm too proud to work any job. I really don't care. Like I said, in my 20s I've worked everything. I don't care what it is. I've washed dishes. I've bussed tables. I've waited tables. I've worked in bars. I was a waiter. I've done all that proletarian stuff. And yet, no one will hire me. I'm bilingual even. I speak Spanish pretty fluently. Puedo cambiar a los dos idiomas sin pensar. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I can switch right over to Spanish. I can read Spanish. I can write Spanish. I can speak Spanish. And yet, that skill even doesn't seem to matter. Not to mention the fact that I have a freaking master's degree. Now, I'm not complaining, I'm not crying, and I'm not wanting your sympathy or anything. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to consider the fact that in our so-called society, there is a real big thread of ageism. People don't want to hire people like me, or my coworker, or the nurse's husband, or my friend down in South Texas, because of the fact that we are in our 50s and know everything. We've been through it all. We have experience that you cannot duplicate. And we also know bullshit. So who are you going to hire? You're going to hire me or the teacher that just got out of college? She's 24 or 22, 23. She has no experience, no life experience, no knowledge, and you're going to put her in a classroom and you're going to pay her $60,000. And you can do whatever the hell you want. You can mold that person however you wish, and they won't know any better. Whereas a person like myself, and this is where I think it's the problem, we know better. We can improve things. Our brains are not dead yet. My brain, at this point right now, in my opinion, is probably the best that it has been in my entire life. Probably since my 40s to now. I mean, my brain is like, whatever it is you give me to do, man, I can do it. That's not even a question, Oh, can he do a job like maintenance of a park? Really? You don't think I can do that? You think I'm too proud to do it? You think you have to pay me too much to do it? I don't care about that. But yeah, this is what we're running into. My coworker, she had an interview with a guy at Sam's Club, the manager or whatever, and I think she made the mistake of telling him that she knew 5 languages. And guess what? No callback after the interview. She had an interview at a clinic, and unfortunately, we live in a society where you can't even get people to do the simplest thing. I've been asked for so many references. I've helped so many people in my life with, academic stuff, work stuff, write me a letter, write me a reference. No problem. Done in 5 minutes. These people won't even barely do that for us. Or at least for her in this case. It took the guy 3 days. He was the ex-director. And that's just another thing. We had 4 directors of this program that I was in for 6 years. In 6 years. 4 directors. These people make like double the money that we made as teachers. 4. I was classroom. I was front line, man. Every freaking day. Even during COVID. Freaking front line, man. Took a week off, figured out what the hell was going on after spring break, and then we went to work on Zoom, which nobody knew what that was. And we had to transition over to that. And then finally, 6 months later, the college decided to give us a little training course. I could have taught the course. All right? Because we had to master it on our own with no help. We put up with all that. And here we are. And, it was the same thing I heard, people make jokes about this, but, they say, oh, you're a member of the blank family. You'll have first priority for any other positions that you're interested in. That's bullshit. These people treat you like you're trash. They don't care. I'm glad I've used up almost all of the unemployment money that I was granted. That was from my fund or whatever. I'm glad. I hope it costs you more money. Okay? Because you treated us like shit. And if this ageism is this rampant in our culture, then we really need to do something about it. Because there's a lot of people out there right now, it appears to me, who are way qualified to do just about any freaking job. And yet, because I might retire in 12 years, you don't want to hire me. Or my friend. Or my other friend. Or this nurse's husband. This is ridiculous. There is nothing wrong with my brain. In fact, for any job that you could give me, or that I could get, I shouldn't say because nobody gives shit away. If I could get this job or that job or whatever it is, you know what? I'd be the freaking master of it. Just like I was when I was a teacher. Or when I was a, auto parts warehouse manager. Okay? So you need to stop the ageism. And I know that nobody will watch this video, nobody cares, but it's just something I thought I should vent. Because, yeah, there is a serious problem in this society with ageism. Oh, he's got gray hair in his beard. I don't want to hire him. He'll retire at 67. He's 55. He's only got 12 years left. I've already given, the best years of my life. I hate that cliche. But I've already given that away. Somebody already bought it. I gave it to somebody else. It was already sold to them. So, just because somebody's in their 50s or 40s or 60s or whatever the fuck, does not mean that you shouldn't hire them for whatever position that they are applying to. All right, this video is already 20 minutes. I didn't really mean to make it this long. It's just been very frustrating, and I was kind of redeemed today when I heard the story from the nurse that her husband, who evidently is probably an expert as much as I am in his field, can't find a job either after 9 months. His unemployment is ending at the end of this month, I think she said, or January. Mine ends in the middle of January. No more money. You're just supposed to starve to death. Fuck you. That's America. We're ruled by the rich. I don't want to go on this tangent. Look at what... Yeah, anyway. All right. I'm going to go off. Something to think about, guys. Something to think about. Ageism. Who was to think, huh? They talk about racism. Ageism, baby. That's the big one. All right. Everybody have a great night, good evening, great morning, great afternoon. I don't care. Whatever it is. Alvarado. Out.